8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Toyota presents Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Hi, everybody. Larry Michael, along with Jon Saraceno. John, we're at Michael's 8th Avenue, the Ballroom, 7th heaven for boxing fans.
Larry, another sellout crowd tonight here in Glen Burnie. 1,500 tickets sold. And guess what? We got a special guest star tonight. Joe Fraiser is supposed to show up later on. We're excited about that.
We're also excited about the return of the Rat Man, Reuben Bell, after a 2-year layoff. What kind of shape do you think he's going to be in?
Well, he's only been out of jail for 3 months. He was exonerated on a murder charge. Came out 190 pounds. He's down to 160. He's a real tough fighter. He should be ready tonight.
And Alfonzo Daniels returns to Ballroom Boxing. Alfonso knocking on the door of a world ranking himself. A win here tonight might get him in.
Alfonso's got to stay more active. He's only had 1 fight since last fall. For him, keeping away from the ring rust is a key thing. Staying active, and tonight he's going to try to give his best here tonight.
Oh, you can feel the hype in the air. Ballroom Boxing is next after this on Home Team Sports. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Toyota presents Ballroom Boxing. It's exciting in here at Michael's 8th Avenue. Sellout crowd. Let's go up to our ring announcer stash. Couple of fighters ready to rumble. Let's get the official introductions from stash.
Refereed by Malik Waleed with your judges, Gary Camponeschi, Bill Holmes, and Jody Wingfield. In the blue corner, from Goose Creek, South Carolina, making his pro debut, Stephan Jenrette. In the red corner, to my right, from Bowie, Maryland, with a pro record of 1-2-1 with 1 knockout, Garth Hedger.
All right, heavyweights in the ring here at Michael's 8th Avenue. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Great to have you with us in the ballroom. Heavyweights now, Garth Hedger, 28 years old, out of Glen Falls, New York, living in Bowie, Maryland, going up against Stephan Jenrette. Pro debut at the age of 32.
You know, you see a lot of fighters more and more making pro debuts at later ages, and that's the case with Jenrette here tonight.
And with the big guys, you never know what happens. This could end quickly. Hedger from nearby Crofton, former Marine, served in the Saudi War, shot the big guns at the Iraqis, and here he's trying to fire some big guns at Stephan Jenrette.
That's got to be bad news if you're Jenrette to find out this guy was a Marine. Doesn't help.
Jenrette scores with a right hand. Both fighters coming out with some intensity.
Wow. 2 brawlers, and Hedger grabs Jenrette around the neck.
Gotta watch for a butt in a situation like that. Hedger scores with a right hand. Jenrette, powerfully built. Both guys are pretty big.
Larry, this is just pure power and brawling right now. There is no boxing skill being displayed right now within 25 miles of this ring.
Good combination. Overhand right by Hedger. Has Jenrette rocked.
Uppercut. There it is.
He's out on his feet. He's about to go. Hedger scores with a left to the right, and down goes Jenrette.
Hedger nearly threw himself through the ropes trying to finish Jenrette off, and the fight should be stopped. There's no doubt about that as we see the ring physician come into the ring.
This fight is over. A first-round knockout by Garth Hedger, and the fans at Michael's love every minute of it.
Well, it wasn't pretty, but Hedger, a wild swinger and very one-tough Marine, really made the pro debut for Steve Jenrette an unhappy one.
That levels Garth Hedger's record to 2-2-1. A very impressive first-round knockout, and Jenrette is still down.
Well, you mentioned before 4 of those 5 finishing blows, Larry, that he was out on his feet, and he was. I think the referee could have possibly jumped in a little bit sooner to stop the fight, but he didn't really have a whole lot of time.
No,
and the way Hedger was swinging, I'm not sure the referee wanted to get that close.
Jenrette is still down, and let's hope that he is okay. Doctor is there. Powerfully built Garth Hedger from Crofton, Maryland. Shows us those big guns we talked about, John. It did not take long for him to show the ammo. Let's take a look at a replay.
Oh, we go right to the body with Hedger with a right hand, but he was head hunting from the moment the bell rang, Larry. A lot of his punches were wide. You see how wide his feet are.
That left hand was the one that did it.
The left hook finishing him off, and you just see how wild Hedger was, swinging away and going through the ropes.
Jenrette is in a seated position. He says he is okay. He looks to be okay, but certainly shook up. Good sportsmanship there. Garth Hedger, a knockout win in the first round. Let's get ready for the official decision. Let's head up to Stash.
At 58 seconds in the first round, the winner by way of TKO, Garth Hedger.
So Garth Hedger puts an end to this bout early in the first round, a knockout winner over Stephan Jenrette. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing from Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, right after this. Welcome back to the Ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue. Toyota presents Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno in the ring. Couple hungry young fighters. Theon Holland coming in 5'6", 138 pounds, a reach of 70.5, taking on Jamar Carter, 5'10.5", 141 pounds, a reach of 70 3/4. Well-matched fight. Let's get the official introductions from Stash.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next fight, a 6-round junior welterweight bout with your referee, Jodi Wingfield. Judges, Malik Walid, Bill Holmes, Kenny Chevalier. And now to the blue corner, weighing in at 141 pounds, from Newark, New Jersey, with a professional record of 7 wins and no defeats, 2 by knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamar Carter. And in the red corner to my right, weighing in at 138 pounds, from Lexington Park, Maryland, with a record of 8-5-0, 8 wins, 5 losses, 6 knockouts. Give it up real big for Theon Brickfoot Holland.
We expect some fireworks here. Jamar Carter, southpaw, 7-0 out of Newark, New Jersey, but has not fought since September of '96. And John, at that age, that young fighter, 7-0, you have to be active. This is something we need to look for.
No question. And the other thing is he's been a very protected fighter, and he's going to be in with a real fight tonight against Theon Holland.
Young, actually, Jamar Carter, 30 years old with a record of 7-0. Another one of those fighters that started late. And here we go, round 1 underway. Ballroom Boxing brought to you tonight by Comfort Inns, Toyota, and by Cohen, Snyder, McClellan, Eisenberg, and Katzenberg in Baltimore. Jamar Carter in the blue satin trunks. His opponent, Theon Holland, out of Lexington Park, Maryland, in the yellow. Brickhouse Holland. Holland has 8 wins, 6 of those wins by way of knockout. Last time out, though, for Holland, he lost an 8-round decision to Andre Cray on March the 30th. So not much rest for Theon Holland out of Washington, D.C.
And a lot of people think, Larry, that when you fight a left-hander, you don't have to use your jab as much, and you like to throw lead right hands. But really, a jab is an important weapon against the southpaw.
Holland weighed in at 138 pounds, and on that frame, I challenge you to find some fat, John. I mean, he is ripped.
He looks terrific.
He really does. Brickhouse is the proper description of the way that young man is built.
This is one of the typical feeling out rounds. Good left hand there by Carter. Holland being very tentative, trying to figure out the southpaw. Boy, Carter is quick, Larry. He's got some good reflexes, hand and foot speed. Like we said earlier, he has been a protected fighter.
And you wonder why at the age of 30, it's not like there is an unlimited number of years ahead. Brickhouse trying to work his way in behind the jab, the reach advantage. Very clear, you can see it's in favor of Jamar Carter.
And it's killing him right now. Holland is having a very difficult time trying to get his offense going on the inside, but he should be trying to jab his way in, even though he is a shorter man with a shorter reach. There was the left followed by the right, the old 1-2.
I understand you're famous for your 1-2.
Let's not get into that. This is really a chess match here in the first round, and one that Carter seems to be winning.
Very tough round to score here. Carter scoring with the jab probably gives him the edge, but it's not very substantial so far. And Holland could steal the round if he could connect with a couple of combinations here with less than 30 seconds to go.
Yeah, for some reason, Carter stopped punching there in the middle part of the round, towards the end of the round. And it could cost him the round. I still have him slightly ahead.
Closing seconds of round one. We'll be back to the ballroom on Home Team Sports after this. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Toyota presents Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. In the ring, Theon Holland out of Lexington Park, Maryland, in the gold trunks. The record of 8-5, 6 knockouts, going up against unbeaten Jamar Carter out of Newark, New Jersey, in the green satin trunks. In the first round, John, a feeling out process, but I think Carter with the jab had to take that first round.
He did slightly, but I tell you what, he's been watching a little bit too much of Pernell Whitaker. He was a little more concerned about styling in the ring and trying to be a slippery southpaw than he was landing and scoring punches, and we knew what that did to Whitaker against Oscar De La Hoya.
Nice awkward move in by Carter, and he scores with the right hand. Holland's having a very, very hard time finding Carter right now.
I guarantee another fighter wouldn't want to fight Jamar Carter, and that would be Oscar De La Hoya.
That's right.
These guys are stinking guys to fight. When you got a left-hander who's got reflexes like Carter does, or a Whitaker, and they move the way they do, both directions, in and out, very difficult target to hit. Look at that. That was some move.
The footwork is so quick by Carter. Holland is just now following him around the ring. He can't cut off the ring even if he knew how.
Yeah, he's totally befuddled.
Not only that, he's confused.
I'll tell you what, I'd be looking at my manager crossways after this fight. I don't think I'd be giving him his 33%. This is not the kind of fight you want for your fighter. Of course, on the other hand, he's 8-5.
Good opportunity for Theon Holland. Uppercut missed wildly by Carter.
You know, late last year, he fought Craig Thomas for the lightly regarded WBF lightweight title and lost a 12-round decision, did Theon Holland. So I guess they figure he has the experience, and with Carter's inactivity and ring rust, that it would be an even match perhaps. But style-wise, this is a bad fight for Theon Holland.
Nice right hand by Carter. Less than a minute to go in round two.
Carter is like a magician. 1 minute he's there, and then poof, he's gone.
Doing a great job. They talk about ring generalship, but he's also fighting. He's also got some offense going.
I would just like to see Carter jab a little bit more.
Oh, big right hand by Holland.
See, he's hot dogging right now instead of thinking about what's in front of him. I think he's trying to impress the crowd here. We've got Al Goldstein from the Baltimore Sun. The Washington Post is here. Tom Lavero from the Washington Times. And I think he's more impressed at this point with himself than perhaps the rest of us are. I mean, he's fighting a good fight, but he needs to punch more, Larry.
Closing seconds of round two. Theon Holland coming on strong as this round concludes. Back with more boxing in the ballroom after this. We're boxing in the ballroom on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. Round three in a very, very tight fight. Theon Holland coming on at the end of round two. And was that enough to even it out on your scorecard, John?
I gave it to Holland. I got the fight even after two, Larry.
All the movement by Carter, unless he can effectively control the tempo of the fight and score some blows, is wasted movement.
Well, the movement is fine, like you say, but again, now he's starting to punch. You got to know in between rounds that his corner got on him when he was sitting on that stool. Jamar, you got to throw punches. You can't just be out there trying to look good. That doesn't win fights.
Holland still has not learned how to cut off the ring here. He's chasing around Carter.
Well, what happens, Larry, is that Carter's jab is so effective in this round that Holland is blinking. He can barely figure out which way to go to start his point of attack on the fighter. See, every time Carter throws that jab, it sets Holland back, and he's got to get restarted. See how he goes backwards? And that's what makes it difficult for him.
Carter seems to have turned his motor up just a bit here in round 3.
Well, he got his fanny chewed out between rounds, and he should have. I mean, you know, the other thing is with fighters, you not only want to win, you want to be as entertaining as possible. And for promoters to use you and fans to buy you as a legitimate fighter, they want to see you throw punches.
Right hand by Holland, and here you go. You've got that contrast in styles. If you're a judge, do you like the dancing, moving by Carter, or do you like the power punching of Brickhouse Holland?
Well, there's no question this is Carter's best round. He is throwing and he is landing.
Really establishing the jab big time.
And there you see Holland starting to show signs of desperation with those wild right hands.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds, so we're approaching the midway point. A slip by Holland. Jodi Winfield is the referee for this bout. Now Carter is 30 years old. Can he continue this movement for the whole 6 rounds?
If he's in shape, he should be able to. 30 years old is not a death sentence, and I think if you're in shape, that should be no problem. But he's got to keep sticking out that right jab.
The jab by Carter is really taking command here in round 3. 30 seconds to go. Holland swinging through air.
I mean, Carter's really exposing Holland here as a guy who's unable to solve the southpaw style.
Right.
And, you know, Carter would do this to a lot of guys. I mean, let's not pick on, you know, we're not trying to pick on Theon Holland. He's trying his hardest in there. But when you got a guy bouncing around the ring like a pinball, throwing punches, backing up, moving in, moving out, it's a difficult assignment.
Closing moments. Holland scores with the right hand at the bell. Back with more after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Let's check in with our own John Scheinman of Ring Magazine. Through 3 rounds, John, how do you have this fight score?
Well, I've got it all even at 29-29. I never like to give an even round, but the last round was even. I don't think I saw one punch landed that whole round. Jamar Carter is a great, talented fighter, but you got to land punches to score points.
John Scheinman has it even. Jon Saraceno, how do you have it?
I gave that last round to Carter, and I have the fight 29-28 in his favor.
Long way to go. Midway point in this 6th round fight. Theon Holland out of Lexington Park, Maryland, in the gold trunks. Jamar Carter out of Newark, New Jersey, in the green satin trunks. And this is the way this fight has gone through the first 3 rounds. Carter has moved from side to side. Holland has had a hard time fighting him. And here you go. You do see some mimicking of Pernell Whitaker right there.
Oh, there's a lot of mimicking of him. And Carter's doing a lot of feigning, which is fine if you want to follow it up and try to set a trap later on, but he's just merely feigning. And for some reason, Larry, I thought he won the last round primarily because of his jab. He stopped throwing it this round. He has not used a jab.
Well, just as you say that, he fires out a jab and another one.
As he triples up on it.
And Holland has done very little here offensively in round 4.
You can see every time Carter jabs that Holland has to go into a defensive shell and is unable to throw back because he's really not a counterpuncher.
Neither fighter has been marked in this fight. The right jab of Jamar Carter, though, finding the mark on the left eye of Theon Holland.
And some of those punches that Holland throws, those overhand rights and those roundhouse punches, are not really landing. I mean, you can give him, you know, you can't give credit for ineffective aggressiveness. It's got to be effective. That means solid punches landing.
Oh, nice left hand right on the button by Jamar Carter. Theon Holland trying to hang in. Now Holland needs to get Carter up against the ropes.
A good body shot there by Theon. Sent Carter right to the ropes.
John, Carter not gliding around the ring as he did in the first 3 rounds. He's standing and fighting a little bit more here in round 4. Do you think the legs are slowing down a little bit?
No, I think he's still moving basically the way he was, Larry. I think he does need to set down more on his punches, though. It would make him a more effective fighter. They have to teach him to fight on the inside, how to slip punches and come back with shots of his own. And he doesn't look that sure of a fighter. But he feels he's got the fight in control. Right there, he should be ripping away to Holland's body. When he had him on the ropes, he let him get off.
Holland misses wildly with the right hand. Closing moments of round 4. Nice uppercut inside. Good body shot with the right hand by Jamar Carter.
See, not all those punches are landing. You're hearing the crowd go wild when Holland throws because they perceive the other guy as not wanting to fight him and just running around the ring.
Back to the ballroom in a moment. Round 5 underway. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno with you tonight. Great to have you with us for Toyota Presents Ballroom Boxing from Michael's 8th Avenue. A sellout crowd on hand tonight. Enjoying the festivities. Very tight fight here between Jamar Carter, unbeaten, 7-0 out of New York, New Jersey, going up against Theon Holland from Lexington Park, Maryland, in the gold trunks. And at the end of round 4, John, I sensed Carter slowing down, and Holland began to catch up to him. You're nodding your head no, you don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think this kid has slowed down one bit. Now you see his legs a little bit unsteady there. Noticed a little bit of a rocking motion there.
Brickhouse turned southpaw to try to get some action going against the southpaw. So for the first time in this fight, Theon Holland goes to the southpaw stance, maybe trying to neutralize the advantage that Carter has. But unless you practice that in the gym repeatedly, it does you no good.
I think it works against you. But then again, let's face it, at this point, he's a little on the desperate side.
Body work again by Carter. And I guess the rationale by Holland turning southpaw is what here, John? What do you think he's thinking?
He's desperate. I think he knows he's behind the fight. Fighting conventional orthodox style hasn't been working. In this round, we are definitely seeing Carter slow down a little bit. He did a lot of moving those first 4 rounds. And his mouth is hanging open. He looks like he's taking a breather this round. And this fight's close, though. You can't afford to take too much of a breather here. You don't want to give away a round with a couple left.
Fight scheduled for 6 rounds. We are in the 5th round right now.
Good straight left hand by Carter, driving Holland backwards. Counter left by Theon.
Tanya, Carter is not moving as much as he did. He's standing and he's fighting a little bit more right now.
And that's good. I mean, that's what he should be doing. He doesn't need to move like that the whole fight, and he shouldn't be moving like that the whole fight. This is Holland's chance now with a more stationary target to try to load up with that right hand, and I think that's what he's trying to do. He may need to shoot that lead right hand a little bit more, Larry. He's still trying to get in with the jab, but the jab isn't really working for Brickhouse tonight.
Carter is very, very slick. Right when Brickhouse thinks he has him in his sights, he's gone. And the legs of Holland beginning to wobble just a bit. Now he's complaining of a butt. Was it a butt or a low blow?
I think he said they clashed heads, but that's the way he looked.
Holland blinking his left eye. Maybe it was a butt above the eye. We can't tell. We're going to keep it right here. 5 rounds in the books, scheduled for 6. And let's go up to John Scheinman and see how he hasn't scored through 5. John.
Well, I got Jamar Carter beginning to pull ahead now, 49-47. I think Theon Holland has an excellent chance, has had an excellent chance to win this bout, and he's given it away. I think he has spent too much time watching Jamar Carter move around and act flashy instead of concentrating on what he does best, which is fighting. Like Jon Saraceno said, he should be using his jab more. I think he should be working inside, going to the body, and I just think Theon Holland is giving this fight away, and he's going to need to score a knockout in this last round to win.
All right, thank you, John Scheinman. Do you concur, Jon Saraceno?
I've got Holland needing a knockout. I also have him trailing 49-47, even though I think some of our rounds were scored differently.
So Theon Holland looking for a knockout on our expert scorecards. And you never know in boxing. What you think is reality is just a mirage, but I think the consensus has to be Carter has dominated the tempo of this fight, at least for the last 3 rounds.
Well, we've been stunned here before with a couple of decisions that left our draws drooping, and you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes one guy gets lucky.
And Carter, you would think the instructions were there, box the last round and take home win number 8. And you can see the left eye of Theon Holland is red and beginning to swell a little bit. And that's that right jab that Carter has used from the first round on. Crowd here at Michael's wants action.
He's just so much more effective is Jamar Carter when he throws the jab, followed with the straight left.
Good body shot there by Holland, but Holland really not doing enough here to turn the tide. If he's looking for a one-punch knockout, he's not going to find it against Jamar Carter.
Well, we can only repeat what we said earlier. This is a very difficult style to fight. I mean, this is a hard fight. You're talking about a guy who's taller, has a longer reach, very agile, foot speed, hand speed, not a great puncher, but look at that, look at the moves. I mean, it's hard to dial in on a guy like that with your radar. And Holland is struggling. He struggled, I think, through the whole fight, and I think it's a bad match for him if you're his manager.
Past the midway point of round 6, the 6th and final round here at Michael's 8th Avenue.
Theon's got to let it hang out a little bit too here, Larry. He's got to take some chances. Even though he's getting hit, you got to start firing that lead right hand. You got to know you're behind in this fight. And even though you do take a chance by leaving yourself wide open for a counter shot, you got to let it all hang out.
It's a hard guy to find is Jamar Carter. Less than a minute to go in the final round.
It's like watching a mosquito on a pond. You know how they move around? I mean, they're here, they're there, they're nowhere.
Carter's impressive. We heard that he had been somewhat protected, but I think right now he's ready to step up because of the movement. He will give anyone a hard fight because he's very hard to find.
That's not a knockdown. I don't think that's a knockdown at all. But that's what's being ruled. He's getting a standing 8 counts.
Looks like he might have gotten his legs
I thought he tripped.
And Holland going right after him. Doesn't have much time, though. Just 20 seconds to go in the 6th round. Carter blinking. Maybe a combination of a trip and a punch. We'll have to check the replay.
Well, he's certainly running around. I don't know why he doesn't hold his ground and fight the guy.
And Carter turns Holland around.
Very defensive oriented throughout the fight. Jamar Carter came back to haunt him here in the 6th round.
Right to the end. Carter and Holland battle. And maybe a little too late. Theon Holland with the knockdown in the final round. Even the 2-point round, John. Would that be enough to give Holland the victory?
Well, on my card, if you give him a 2-point round, it would be a draw. But I think clearly Jamar Carter won the fight. I don't think there's any doubt.
Quickly to John Scheinman. John, this fight is over. Who's the winner?
Oh, well, I think Jamar Carter still wins it by 1 point. I don't know if that was a knockdown. I'd like to see the replay. I'm not supposed to have the hindsight of a replay, but I just didn't think it was a knockdown either.
Yes, it looked like Carter was a little bit off balance as that punch came. Let's take a look at a replay and see exactly what happened for that knockdown.
Well, you see Holland's been chasing Carter around the ring all night, and there is that lead straight right hand,
yes,
and it was a
indeed.
legitimate shot, Larry.
Yes, indeed.
Knocked him right on his fanny. I thought they got their feet tangled, but no, that was a legitimate shot, and that's why you saw Carter running around after he got up trying to hold on for dear life. So that's a legitimate 10-8 round.
So was that enough to even up the scorecards at ringside? Jamar Carter doing a good job of moving, but that was a punch right down the middle, right on the chin of Carter. And Jon Saraceno, you make that a draw because of that 2-point round.
I do, even though I think Carter won the fight. But on my scorecard would not reflect that because of the way that last round was scored.
Well, one of these two guys is going to go home disappointed tonight.
Also, you could also make the case that Carter was winning the round until that knockdown, so it might not even be a 2-point round.
Doesn't have to be a 10-8 round.
No, it does not. So on that basis, Carter would win by a point, and I think that's the most justified scoring analysis.
And of course, the judges at ringside do not have the liberty of the replay, and everyone here at ringside thought that that was a glancing blow and a trip by Carter. So we're just going to have to wait and see how they total up the numbers at ringside.
Everybody but Theon Holland, he knew that straight right hand, and he knew he had to gamble, Larry. Time was running out. He finally threw it straight down the pipe. And now I guess we know why Jamar Carter was scooting around the ring so much tonight. Got to wonder about his whiskers.
Try to stay away. Put him right on his backside. Let's take a look at another replay from earlier in that 6th round. The knockdown.
This is going to be the knockdown again. The straight right hand right down the middle.
Oh, you can see the spray of perspiration off the head.
Took him right
Carter.
off his feet.
Yes.
Right off of his feet. onto the canvas, but he was not seriously hurt.
Big time power punch, and really the best punch landed in the fight by either fighter.
Boy, Holland came just that close, Larry, to pulling it out, and who knows, on the judges' scorecards, he may have.
Well, this is a decision
taking a long time.
Certainly is going to be scrutinized. I don't know. I think Carter did enough to win that fight.
So do I.
Despite the 10-8 last round, and again, it doesn't have to be a 10-8 round.
No, it doesn't.
And the referee and the judges at ringside do not have the liberty of the replay as we did. But I smell rematch, huh? No? If I'm Carter, I don't want any more of Holland after that.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to see that fight again, personally. I just think it's a mismatch of styles in a sense. It's not a good fight for Holland, I don't think.
Well, anybody that Jamar Carter fights will cause a mismatch in styles.
I mean, it's a good style matchup in terms of what fans can see, because the one guy is trying to bore in and the other guy is trying to move away. So it's interesting in that aspect. But not for your fighter unless your fighter is Jamar Carter.
That's right. Taking a long time for this decision here at ringside. Referee Jodi Winfield bringing both fighters to the center of the ring. And Stash, our ring announcer, has gotten the official word. And let's see what it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a split decision. Judge Ken Chevalier scores the fight. 57 for Carter, 56 for Holland. Judge Malik Waleed scores the fight. 57 Holland, 56 Carter. Judge Bill Holmes scores the fight. 58 Carter, 55 for Holland. The winner, Jamar Carter.
Jamar Carter takes home the W. He runs his record to 8-0. A split decision win over Theon Holland. Back with more from the Ballroom on HDS after this. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. Our ring announcer, Pat O'Malley, is ready to introduce one of our main events. Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman Carl N. Milligan Jr. and Ballroom Boxing present this 8-round bout in the super middleweight division. Let me introduce the referee, Bill Holmes. Introducing the boxers. Fighting out of the blue corner, weighing 167 pounds, wearing the black trunks, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with a record of 16, 45, and 4, 7 via the knockout. Please welcome Robert Gregory Thomas. Fighting out of the red corner, in the black trunks, weighing 161 pounds, from Washington, D.C., with a record of 12-1, 9 by knockout. Please welcome Reuben Ratman Bell.
Well, it's our honor and privilege, really graced by having one of the all-time great heavyweights, Smoking Joe Fraiser, with us at ringside. Pinch me, Jon Saraceno. Joe Fraiser sitting here.
I'm afraid he'll have some kind of a flashback, and I might get hit with one of them smoking left hooks.
Now you be safe all the way around. No doubt about that.
Joe, I believe that.
This is where am I? Lowell?
Close. Glen Burnie, Maryland. Same difference.
Okay, same thing.
And you know, we've got a fight in the ring, and Joe, we're just gonna be very happy to have you with us. It's Reuben Ratman Bell taking on Robert Thomas. And you know, Robert Thomas out of the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. And you know about them Philadelphia fighters, don't you, Joe Fraiser?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. we come to get the job done.
And usually you get the job done, right?
We try most of the time.
Now, Reuben Ratman Bell, we talked about him in our open. He was away for a few years. He's back after a 2-year layoff. Now, this is a kid here, Reuben Bell, who was on the verge of making some noise in terms of a world ranking and a world title shot before he was incarcerated. And 2 years is a long layoff, isn't it?
Well, it certainly is. And what happened with Ratman was that he was really hanging out in the street, not living right, not training properly. And he fought Paul Vaden. The fight went 12 rounds. Of course, Paul Vaden fought Terry Norris a couple of years ago and lost the title bid. And he lost a 12-round decision. And then he got in trouble with the law He was exonerated of a murder charge, but again, it took him out of the ring for nearly 2 years. And with that kind of ring rush, you see a little bit of his timing being off there. He's got to feel his way back into the ring.
Just 24 years old, so still has a career ahead of him.
Oh, no question.
His record 12-1. That loss coming to Paul the Ultimate Baden. He has 9 knockouts, does Reuben Bell, the Rat Man from Washington, D.C. And the nickname Rat Man coming, I would think, from his time on the street, huh?
Well, you gotta like the trunks on Rat Man. I mean, kind of says incarceration. I mean, that is a hard pair of trunks with those skull and crossbones.
And Joe Fraiser just being mobbed here ringside, and we're going to get an opportunity to do an interview with Joe Fraiser a little bit later, John, in maybe a more controlled atmosphere. Everywhere this guy goes, he's mobbed, and he's just been ripped away from us here at ringside.
It's incredible. There are 3 heavyweights I think of that when they step into a room, the room gets smaller, and that's Joe Fraiser, Muhammad Ali, and George Foreman. They attract crowds like no other fighter or ex-fighter in the history of boxing.
You do not put Mike Tyson in that group, huh?
No, no. Mike scatters a few crowds. I don't know if he draws a crowd.
With the commotion of having Joe Fraiser here at ringside, this first round rather uneventful.
Well, it's a good feeling out round for Reuben Bell. You know, you can fight in the gym, Larry, and get a lot of good sparring, which Reuben Bell has received lately. Good right hand by Reuben Bell. He's got his man hurt.
Good left hand, though. Good left counter by Robert Thomas. Robert Greg Thomas. But he likes to rumble. There you go. He's putting some heat on Reuben Bell, and how Reuben Bell retaliates here after a 2-year layoff is something you want to keep your eye on.
But there's nothing like having a live fight in front of a live crowd.
Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Toyota presents Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. And I want to thank Joe Fraiser for stopping by. We're going to catch up to Joe a little bit later and see what he's been up to. Robert Thomas really put some lumber to Reuben Bell. And you know, there has to be rust. I don't care how young a guy is. I don't care how active he has tried to be. And that was a body punch. And also a butt over the right eye of Thomas. And now Reuben Bell going to try to move in, try to put some heat on. Thomas, the blood coming from that right eye. And we could not tell if that was a butt or not. Reuben Bell trying to set up the left hand. Nice left-right combination by the Rat Man. Overhand right by the Rat Man. Thomas trying to fight back. Bell in a corner. Thomas beginning to chase Bell around. That cut, John, beginning to look a little uglier over the right eye of Thomas.
There's not much pretty about Robert Gregory Thomas with a 16-45-4 record. In a sense, he's a perfect opponent tonight for Reuben Bell's comeback to boxing.
And really, Thomas has been in against some pretty darn good fighters, and Reuben Bell is the latest in a long line.
Well, he fought the Batavian Scotland, a fighter we've seen here in this series before, to a draw 2 years ago.
Thomas is hurt, but fighting back. Fought Bernard Hopkins years ago, back in 1981.
Hey, what Thomas refusing to give up in this fight, and he's just bullying Bell around the ring.
Thomas leaning against Bell, and you wonder if Bell's conditioning after being away for 2 years, being away from boxing for 2 years. And Thomas will not give him any room, and I think that has to be the strategy for Thomas. Bell up against the ropes. He's trying to wear down Bell, trying to test the will of the Rat Man.
Good point, Larry. He is smothering the punches of Reuben Bell, and that's what he's got to be on the inside. Try to wear down Reuben Bell, maybe get him into those later rounds if he somehow can.
This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds, closing seconds of round 2. The Rat Man, Reuben Bell, taking on Robert Greg Thomas. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing, presented by Toyota on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno, round 3. Reuben Ratman Bell, the return of the Ratman, going up against Robert Greg Thomas. And 2 rounds in the books, John. And did you give them both to the Ratman?
Actually, I gave the last round to Thomas. I thought he fought his way back into the round, and I've got it even after 2. Also interesting, Larry, I thought, was the expression on the face of Reuben Bell. Almost that smile, like you're really not hurting me, but almost like he's trying to fake it, not let Thomas know that he got rocked a little bit later in the round, and the fact that Thomas was not willing to give up when it looked like he was out of the fight early. Oh, good straight lead right hand. Attacking that southpaw stance of Thomas was Reuben Bell. You see Bell switching up, going orthodox, unorthodox.
And the story of Reuben Bell, John, you touched on it in our open. Thomas wobbled, coming back, toe-to-toe.
I tell you, Reuben's doing a real smart thing here, Larry. He's throwing those lead right hands, and he's scoring early in the 3rd round, trying to take control. Watch him throw this lead right hand now.
But Reuben Bell, admittingly, with the wrong crowd earlier in his life, and after the loss to Paul Vaden, his life certainly took a turn in the wrong direction.
Well, like some fighters, Larry, his biggest fight is the streets, and he lost that fight early on to the streets. He's now trying to rebound. He even realizes he needs to get out of Washington, to leave the city, that there are too many temptations there for him.
Right now, the temptation, I would think, is to get off the ropes, because
well, again,
Thomas is just smothering him.
And this could be something you alluded to earlier, was a conditioning factor. You know, he wants to save his legs a little bit too. I mean, this man has only been out of jail for about 3 months, and I don't care what kind of sparring you got, it's not the same as a live fight. This is a very difficult thing to come back when you've been incarcerated. Mike Tyson faced it. There have been plenty of other fighters have done it, and try to have your first fight. A lot of things that go through the mind of a fighter who's been away. Fortunately, Reuben Bell was cleared of the murder charge. He maintains his innocence to this day. It only took a jury 2 hours to find him not guilty.
Nice right hand by Bell. Thomas is hurt. He's there for the taking. Less than 30 seconds to go in the round, and the blood pouring from the right eye of Thomas.
I tell you what, though, you got to hand it to Thomas. It's not very pretty, but he is still trying to win this fight. A lot of guys would have bailed out by now.
Body work by Reuben Bell, trying to wear down Thomas. Nice right hand by Bell. Another right, left hand counter by Thomas.
What a gutty performance by Thomas.
Welcome back to the ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue. Toyota presents Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Reuben Ratman Bell returning to the ring after an absence of 2 years. A record of 13-1.
I get the feeling, sorry, Larry, I get the feeling that Bell would be popular at LA Raider games.
Yes,
with that outfit.
The skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
Yes. And in the corner, they probably said to him, "Just win, baby."
Well,
you didn't get that one?
You better win a lot more than that team's been winning.
Clubbing right hand by Reuben Bell. Really cupping the neck of Thomas with that punch.
Lately for the Raiders, it's been just wheeze, baby.
Very good, John. Probably your best line of the show so far.
Thank you. There's a meter that measures that, right?
That's right. It's called the corn meter.
Okay.
Anyway, in the ring, round 4, Reuben Bell showing pretty good stamina for a guy that's been away for as long as he has. Still a long way to go in this fight, though, scheduled for 8 rounds.
Counter right hand there by Bell. The right hand.
Low shot there by Thomas. Bell turns it around, firing combinations. Bell just has his head down, wailing away. Nice left hand by the Ratman.
Bell's got a nice left hook, and he throws the uppercut, too. Throws a lot of punches. I don't quite like the way he throws the right hand, but
Bell showing some fatigue. Thomas's hands are by his side, and the Ratman cannot take advantage.
You got to figure Bell in February about 195 pounds. Here it is, May, and he's down around 160.
Thomas,
Hey,
Bell smiling at us here at ringside.
Smiling at you or me, Larry?
I don't know.
I think he's my friend. This kind of guy you like to have as a friend, right? If you're in a fight.
The guard of Robert Gregg Thomas is absolutely down. He's really sucking wind right now, and if Reuben Bell was in his best condition, I think this fight would be close to being over. Oh, big right left combination. Big right hand by Reuben Bell. Thomas about to go. Somehow stays on his feet. The Rat Man senses a knockout.
I tell you what, they either poured concrete in the chin of Robert Thomas, or Bell's not as big a puncher as he appears to be.
Another right hand. Thomas is about to go.
And the referee's watching it closely, Larry.
Thomas holding on.
And he's taken a lot of punishment in this fight through only 3.5 rounds. How much more is the referee going to allow him to absorb?
I don't know, but he's in bad shape right now. Right hand by the Rat Man.
And he keeps coming forward for more.
Face first. He's got to get his hands up. Closing moments of round 4. Big round for the Rat Man.
Oh, there goes the mouthpiece.
The mouthpiece of Thomas. He's about to go at the bell. It will not be a knockdown here. End of round 4. We're going to keep it right here. The Rat Man puts his hands up. Let's take a look at the corner of Robert Gregg Thomas and see what kind of shape he is in.
That was a huge round for Bell, and he punctuated with those right hand leads in the latter third of the round. And you see how weary Robert Gregory Thomas is on his stool. He's taken a lot of punishment, Larry.
The doctor holding up fingers.
You got to seriously consider at some point when a man's taken enough blows like that, whether the fight should be stopped.
Let's take a look at a replay. Some devastating punches by the Rat Man, Reuben Bell. I don't know how Thomas survived. Looking back at action. Big right hand. Take a look. You see Thomas's hands completely down. And the Rat Man.
Well, the action was later in that round when he got hit with those right hands.
Thomas slow, getting out of his corner.
No wonder. You blame him?
Don't blame him one bit. This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds. This is round 5. I would think a similar round to round 4, and this fight would be stopped.
He's virtually pitching a shutout. I've got him ahead 3 rounds to 1 for Bell.
Once again, Bell forcing the issue. The blood continuing to pour from the right eye of Gregg Thomas. Left hand by the Rat Man, ducks to right. Another right hand by the Rat Man. Moving away from Thomas, showing good movement. You can see the rust just coming off of the Rat Man.
It's flaking right off on us. And he's got some boxing skills. He's not just a banger. But it's going to be a long process to get him back to where he was when he fought Paul Vaden 2 years ago. He missed with that right uppercut. And that's a timing thing, Larry, too, having been off that long.
Good body work. Bell not neglecting to go to the body. Thomas just right there the whole time.
He's been smacking Thomas's head all around the ring. I guess he figured, let's go to the body and see what happens.
That right eye cut is really opening up over the right eye of Thomas. And I don't know how long this will go on. Nice combination by Bell. Still over a minute to go here in round 5.
Good workout for Bell in his first fight back.
Big left hand by Bell, follows with the right. Thomas, this fight is over. The referee steps in. Good stoppage. 2 solid punches, a left and a right from the Rat Man, Reuben Bell. And his return is successful here tonight at Michael's 8th Avenue. After a 2-year layoff, Reuben Bell looks very impressive.
And he is one happy fella in the ring right now, Larry. And he's telling Thomas, boy, you really hung in there tough, man.
You are tough, tough cookie. You can see Reuben Bell is very happy.
And that is a nasty cut along Thomas's eyebrow. Good stoppage.
Reuben Bell playfully punching World-ranked Daryl Coley, who's in the ring, one of the stable mates, the hardcore gym. And Reuben Bell, a successful return to the ring, and that has to give him motivation to keep his life on track.
Well, if that doesn't, nothing will. He's got to stay in the gym, stay active, and stay off the streets. It's an easy thing to fall back into, an easy trap for a fighter to start hanging with his boys.
All right, Pat O'Malley, our ring announcer, is in the ring. Let's get the official word from Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by TKO at round 5, 207, Reuben Ratman Bell.
Reuben Bell, victorious here at the Ballroom. His return to the ring successful. He runs his record to 13-1-0, his 10th knockout. Reuben Bell, and he wants to climb that ladder once again. All right, let's head to John Scheinman now of Ring Magazine for an interview with the winner, Reuben Bell.
I'm here with Reuben Bell. He's just scored a 5th round technical knockout after being out of the ring for 2 years. What's your emotions right now?
My emotions, like I said before, I'm back in blast. I'm not always in blast because the months took a toll on me. But like I told you yesterday, it was gonna love me.
Were you surprised? It appeared a little bit like you were rusty in the ring. Did you think that you were rusty? How did you feel about your performance?
Well, I feel good since I've been off for so long. But you know, I did feel rusty. Then I got tired, quick. I've been doing sprints. I've been running, training every day. I still got tired because it's months. It took a toll on me. But I know I had to bite down on it. Only thing was going through my head, my kids, my fiance, my trainers trained me so hard, pushed me, my friends pushed me. You know, people in the pen, my friends in jail, they pushed me and all that. You know, kept on calling me, telling me, beat this man, knock him out. They didn't want to win, they wanted a knockout. I gave it to him.
Well, the Rat Man is back, Reuben Bell. Let's go back to ringside.
Thank you very much, John Scheinman. Back with more Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Reuben Bell victorious. His return successful after a 2-year layoff. We had Smokin' Joe Fraiser with us a little bit earlier. Finally tracked down Smokin' Joe. Let's go to that piece of tape. Well, this man needs no introduction. He is Smokin' Joe Fraiser, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. Joe, last time I saw you was at the Olympics in Atlanta. You look better today than you did that day.
You haven't scared me to death. I thought the last time you see me, I was getting them off the rug.
No. Hey, Joe, what about a nice club fight atmosphere like we have here at Michael's 8th Avenue? This is really boxing at its grassroots, isn't it?
I think this is what boxing needs more of, you know. A lot of people come around, enjoy themselves, you know. No chair throwing the ring, you know. It's a clean sports. When I was there, I would like to go back that way. I like to see go back to everybody enjoy themselves. The fighters don't mind getting a butt whipping, so why the audience get all excited? I don't mean the fighters got beat up out there. We don't say nothing, but why the audience got to get out of hand? So I think this is what we need. Fight like this, people who learn to behave themselves and make it a clean sports again.
Joe, anywhere you go, you're treated like a king. How does that make you feel inside, knowing that so many people show that kind of respect for Joe Fraiser?
It's a great feeling, and I would say I don't know no other way to live but just right. And, you know, once in a while I get so angry with the things I see, but therefore I keep it to myself, or sometimes I get out of hand with that once in a while too. But life's been good to me.
Life has been great to you, Joe. Wrapping it up, what is your greatest moment in your boxing career, or is there a single moment?
That one. I like that one you say, the boxing career. I had so many great moments in boxing. I would say, let's say 64, the Golden Glove champion. 64, the Golden Glove gold medal winner. And then 68, when I fought Malthus, I won the title. 1970, I fought Jimmy Ellis the title. 71, I took on a butterfly, so I took him out. A lot of great moments in my life. When Mom gave birth to me, that was the best.
Guaranteed. Joe Fraiser, thanks for visiting us with us here at Michael's 8th Avenue and coming to the state of Maryland. Everyone here is a huge fan of you as well as me. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks for having me, man. All right. Boogie.
All right, Smokin' Joe Fraiser, one of the legends in boxing. A privilege to have him in the ballroom for Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Back with our next fight right after this. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno in the ring. Big heavyweights. Corey Sanders and Biko Botomawunga. Corey Sanders, 6'5", 284 pounds. There he is with a reach of 81 and a half. And Biko out of Zaire, 6'3", 257, a reach of 76 and a half inches. Big men in the ring. Close to 600 pounds of manhood in there right now. For the official introductions, let's head up to our ring announcer, Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carl N. Milligan Jr. and Ballroom Boxing present this 8-round bout in the heavyweight division. The referee will be Jodi Wingfield. Introducing the boxers. Out of the blue corner, weighing 257 and a half pounds, from Martinsville, Virginia, wearing the black trunks, originally from Zaire, with a record of 9-4-1, 9 by way of knockout. Please welcome Biko Botomawunga. Boxing out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks, weighing 284 pounds, from Mitchellville, Maryland, with a record of 10-4, 7 via the knockout. Corey T-Rex Sanders. The referee is Jodi Wingfield. The judges Ken Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Malik Waleed.
Jon Saraceno, you see two very big men. Both of these fighters, with Botomawunga 9-4-1, T-Rex Sanders 11-4. You could say this is a crossroads fight for these guys, because the winner of this fight gets a chance to move on. The loser of this fight will probably relegated to journeyman duty the rest of the way.
Well, I don't know. With the heavyweights, you can never quite say that. I mean, they always live to fight another day. It seems that way. In heavyweight division, you're never really truly out of it. And both fighters coming off losses. Of course, we saw Jerry Ballard stop Corey Sanders in our last show. And it's going to be a tall order for both fighters in this fight to impose their will on the other.
And Biko Botomawunga out of Zaire started his pro career at the age of 35 and didn't get his first loss until the age of 37. And Jon Saraceno, you cannot make that same claim.
Was beaten much earlier in my career, several times.
So Corey Sanders, we've seen him many times here in the ballroom, and the footwork of Biko Botomawunga is a little shaky early in this fight. Corey Sanders, we saw him most recently here in the ballroom, winning by knockout in March. Botomawunga, though, packs a punch. Big left hand by T-Rex into one knee goes Biko. And he is scrambling as though standing in a banana peel to get up. And he is hustling. He wants to go after T-Rex, who is clear-eyed and looking for the knockout punch. Botomawunga goes down again. That's 2 knockdowns. And Jodi Wingfield, the referee, wiping off the gloves of Biko. T-Rex looking for the knockout. Looking for his 8th knockout as a professional. Let's see if he can fight it here in round 1.
I hope he doesn't send them our way, and this is the direction they're coming right now. Biko doesn't look like he's going to be able to weather this storm.
No, Biko's legs are not there. Got a very strong upper body, shoulders and neck. Corey T-Rex Sanders continues to move forward.
Well, Biko at this point is just trying to survive this first round, Larry. And there's quite a bit of time remaining.
Just midway through round 1. Sanders has already put Biko Botomawunga down twice so far in round 1. Botomawunga has really not thrown any punches here. He's just been trying to defend himself against T-Rex.
Better get that jab pumping and make T-Rex think twice about rushing in. Instead, he's just waiting. And let's face it, this is what happens when you start a career like boxing. at age 35.
Botomawunga has no legs at all. And you take away the legs, you take away the punching power.
Well, Sanders should be going to the body right now, jabbing his way and going to the body. He's actually letting Biko off the hook here, I think.
He's Larry. Biko Botomawunga looks very strong up top. And I think Sanders is trying to play it safe.
There's a body shot.
Nice shot.
By T-Rex, right hand to that midsection.
Less than 30 seconds to go here in round one. T-Rex Corey Sanders.
Amateurish left hand.
Overhand right, glancing off the top of the head of Biko Botomawunga. Closing moments here of round one.
No knockdown rule.
And we're going to keep it right here. Keep an eye on the man from Zaire, Biko Botomawunga.
Well, he took some heavy blows that first round. He's got to try to gain his composure here between rounds, settle down. And when you don't have a long fight career behind you, Larry, sometimes it's hard to do that. I mean, that was a huge round, no pun intended, for Corey Sanders.
Corey Sanders in his corner. They're discussing what was the effective punches.
I think they're telling him to go to the body more. And now we look into the corner.
Let's take a look at a replay from earlier in this first round. And that was more of an equilibrium or balance knockdown.
He actually shoved him with the jab a little bit, and that seemed to propel him to the canvas. I think you're right. He doesn't have any legs.
He really doesn't have any legs. And I don't know if it's because he's 37 or he just has no legs.
Maybe both.
It may be. So round two, Corey Sanders looking to finish what he started in round one.
What's that phrase Cosell used to use? Utterly devoid of boxing skills?
Well, that would appear to be Biko. Living in Martinsville, Virginia by way of Zaire. Now, Corey Sanders here has to play this smart. He's doing a good job working the body here.
And that's what they told him in between rounds.
I mean, he was really laying the lumber to the body of Biko there. See, that's the
telegraphed home run ball.
That's the prayer he's got. The overhand right. Look at him.
Oh, he's stumbling all over the ring. And here he comes our way.
I'm telling you right now.
I get nervous when I see 600 pounds of man coming my way.
You will never see me move any faster than if Biko comes falling through this ring.
You have to get by me first.
No offense to Home Team Sports, but the show would have to go on, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, without us.
Yeah, two very big men in the ring, and Corey Sanders kind of a little smile on his face. And I think he realizes he has a Biko Botomawunga completely outclassed, and he really needs to finish this job.
Yeah. Corey should be jabbing. See how he's just walking him down? He's just showing no respect for him.
Well, that overhand right by Biko caught his attention earlier here in round two.
No question, but he's walking straight in. He's not punching his way in. This is what happens when you fight a guy who's not very skilled. You fall into a sloppy kind of fight. See what he's doing now? He's almost fighting like the other guy.
Looking for one punch.
Yeah.
Biko holding on. And the legs, the balance, the base of Botomawunga. He goes down without being hit.
Well, he's just totally off balance, amateurish, throwing wild shots with Western Union stamped all over those gloves. Couldn't telegraph him any.
That was not
clearly.
Overnight delivery, though.
FedEx.
That was 3-day service.
I like that. Very good.
Corey Sanders continues to move forward. Nice hand, nice right hand by Corey.
All Biko can do is just really hold on.
Biko has that left hand low. And Corey Sanders, if he could just fire that right hand, he could end it real quick with one punch.
Well, that's what he's trying to do, though. He should really just be attacking the guy and breaking him down, breaking his body down. And he's getting a warning from the referee to stop holding.
There's a nice right hand.
Well, his legs do the, I don't know what kind of dance that is every time he gets hit. What would you call that dance?
I don't know. I would mention linguini, but you're Italian.
Yeah, don't offend me.
Closing moments of round two. Corey Sanders, T-Rex, controlling the action here in the ballroom. Back with more on Home Team Sports after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. I believe Biko Botomawunga has had enough. I think he has had enough. He is resigning in this fight. He has quit. The victory will go to Corey T-Rex Sanders, improving his record to 11-4, 8 knockouts. And the claim here from Jodi Wingfield, the referee, the right hand of Biko Botomawunga is damaged, and he is quitting. So the victory will go in favor of T-Rex Corey Sanders, and kind of an anticlimactic end to what was a one-sided heavyweight
I'd like
fight.
to know how his right hand was damaged when the other guy was landing most of the right hands. That's what I'd like to know.
Well, the one,
I think he quit.
The one punch that Biko had, that overhand wild right, and he is done. He is done for the night.
He should be done for good because he does not belong as a professional boxer.
So Corey Sanders, another win to his credit. Big T-Rex. Prehistoric in his efforts. And let's take a look at a replay from earlier in this fight. Corey T-Rex Sanders.
I'd like to say Sanders looked good, but the other guy was so pitiful.
Yep, he was. We've got Pat O'Malley standing by with the official decision. Let's hear from Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We have a TKO at the end of the second round, a broken thumb stopped by referee Jodi Wingfield. And the winner, Corey T-Rex Sanders.
So Corey T-Rex Sanders dominates Biko Botomawunga, and Sanders improves to 11-4, 8 by knockout. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing on HDS after this. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. John Scheinman with us as well. Our next fight is in the ring. We expect a doozy. Let's head up to ring announcer Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, ladies and gentlemen. The Maryland State Athletic Commission, Chairman Carl N. Milligan Jr. and Ballroom Boxing present this 8-round bout in the middleweight division. The referee is Kenny Chevalier. Let me introduce the fighters. Boxing out of the blue corner, weighing 157.5 pounds, from Savannah, Georgia, in the black trunks, trimmed in red and white, with a record of 6-8-2. Please welcome Earl, the Rock, Allen. Out of the red corner, in the green and gold trunks, weighing 159 pounds, from Riverdale, Maryland, with a record of 18-2, 7 by way of knockout. Please welcome Alfonzo, 2, good for you, Daniels.
Alfonzo Daniels back in the ring. And John, you know, he's one of our favorites, though he has been inactive. Last year, the year 1996, Al Daniels fought 6 times. This year, just once so far, back in January.
Well, we've talked many times before, ring rust is the worst enemy of a fighter. Alfonzo Daniels has a good record. He's got skills. He needs to get busier with his career and fight better opponents.
Al Daniels was on our last card, but his fight back in March was a last-minute scratch. And with that in mind, Al Daniels back in the ring. Let's go to action. His opponent tonight, though really not a good record, Earl Allen, 6-8. Winner last time out, a 10-round decision over former great Johnny Gann out of Washington, D.C. He's fought some tough competition, has Earl Allen.
He's had real tough losses to Lloyd Bryant, Jason Papillon, Mario Reuben, and so he's been in with guys who are trying to build their records at his expense. He's been in with good fighters, so it's been a difficult career path for Earl Allen.
Of course, last time we saw Alfonzo Daniels fall was on September the 26th of last year. A very tough decision loss to Stan Braxton, brother of Dwight Mohammed Kwawi, formerly Dwight Braxton. And in that fight, Stan Braxton showed too much strength for Al Daniels. I think that's one area that Al could really improve.
No question. He's a good boxer, not a big puncher, needs to get stronger. Speaking of Dwight Kwawi, you know, he's fighting again. He had a 6-rounder last week.
Oh, my goodness.
He's fighting at heavyweight. He wants some of that heavyweight cash.
Well, he fought George Foreman along the Foreman comeback trail years ago.
Almost 10 years ago.
Al Daniels trying to work that jab. Al Daniels a good boxer. Got a lot of nice movement in the ring. And here in round 1, showing some of that boxing ability.
Earl Allen, a very tough customer, rough guy who will stay in there and battle with you all night long. Interesting style matchup with a stand-up boxer like Al Daniels.
Good body shot by Al Daniels.
I like the way Al Daniels carries himself in the ring, Larry. Very poised, full of confidence, takes his time, doesn't get rushed and excited. I think in some of the earlier fights we saw tonight, some of the fighters that don't have as much experience, you see how they rush forward and throw wild punches and leave themselves wide open to be countered. That's not the case with Al Daniels.
Well, Alfonzo Daniels is not your typical boxer. Alfonzo Daniels, we've talked about it before. OR nurse at a hospital, and last time we talked to him, he said he's added some work in penitentiaries to his resume, and this is a guy who is much more than just a boxer.
No question. A real good guy and a credit to the sport. And last night, in fact, he was working at a correctional facility, could not make the weigh-in in time, and they held it open for him to make the weigh-in. He reported about midnight to make weigh-in, so that was interesting. He's a very serious-minded young man, and before the fight he was worried about his music choice. That's what we were going over. He
Absolutely.
came over to see us.
Well, he had to make the obligatory stop. Alfonzo Daniels, round one of the books. Back with more after this. All right, welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. We're in the ballroom at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Round two, Alfonzo Daniels taking on Earl Allen. Daniels 18-2. And Alfonzo Daniels just scratching, clawing his way up the ladder, and he is knocking on the door of a world ranking. Take a look at some of the lesser rated organizations. NABF, USBA. Daniels is in those rankings, and a couple more wins, and I think you'll see him crack one of the major top 10 rankings.
That's certainly what he's aiming for. Right now, Earl Allen is trying to solve that southpaw riddle. He's aiming for a solution to that puzzle. See him struggling a little bit to find a way to get past Al Daniels' jab. Gal should be using that jab a little bit more than he does. He should double up, triple up on it.
This is a fight for purists here. This is not what you'd call a major league rumble, and that's not the way Alfonzo Daniels fights.
But that's what Earl Allen would like to turn it into, Larry. He certainly would. He would like to get in there and turn it into more of a slugfest, at least on the inside, but not a big puncher, certainly.
Certainly not.
In fact, I don't think he has a knockout on his record.
He is yet to record a knockout in his career. He is 6-8-2, 0 KOs. Alfonzo Daniels, 27 years old, from nearby Riverdale, Maryland.
This turned into a real chess match here in the second round.
It's the way Alfonzo Daniels fights. Scores points, and he controls tempo, and he's certainly controlling this tempo. Unorthodox left uppercut, right uppercut there by Alfonzo.
Daniels has fine hand, foot speed. Well-conditioned athlete, and he takes his craft seriously. Just wish Al Daniels had a little bit more sock in that left hand.
How do you develop that kind of punching power?
You know what? I don't really think you do. You can be taught how to throw punches with better precision, but a lot of times it's accumulation. And if you're not a natural puncher, you're not a natural puncher. And he isn't. And he gets by with his reflexes, quickness, hand speed, and his ring movement.
Good movement shown by Earl Allen out of Savannah, Georgia. Allen is 29 years old. Closing seconds of round two. Back with more boxing in the ballroom on Home Team Sports right after this. 3 on. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Larry Michael, Jon Saraceno, joined by promoter Scott Wagner. Another great card here in the ballroom. A sellout crowd. And my goodness, Scott, how ballroom boxing has grown over the last year and a half, 2 years.
We're real excited about the crowds that are coming out. We're real excited about the fights, and you know, we'll just keep working, banging on everybody, and try to get them out to see boxing live.
Yeah, nothing like this atmosphere, especially when you get a chance, as the fans here tonight had a chance to meet one of the all-time greats, Smoking Joe Fraiser. You know, when you bring this type of action in the ring and outside the ring, it's a full night of entertainment.
People really like to see guys like Joe Fraiser, and we got Bobby Baffert, who's got Silver Charm, who won the Kentucky Derby, and they get real excited about it. And anything that we can do to add to the excitement of live boxing is good.
Alfonzo Daniels in the ring against Earl Allen. And, you know, Al Daniels was supposed to fight in March. His fight fell through, and you promote Alfonzo Daniels. Would you like to see him in the ring more often?
Well, we would. We want to be careful. We want to move out up and towards money, fights that bring more money, but we also want to be careful and make good decisions with Al. And Al's a guy that's in the gym every day. He works hard. He trains hard. He's got a good job. He's a great guy. And you know, we don't want to be greedy and go for the money now. We want to take our time, keep adding wins, and you know, move at a good pace.
Earl Allen showing good as a competitor here. Alfonso Daniels doing what he likes to do, which is control the tempo of fights. And Jon Saraceno, the tempo has been all Alfonso Daniels through the first 2 rounds.
Well, he's definitely set the pace in this fight. You could see Allen a bit of a plotter as he tries to move inside. He's not the smoothest guy, and in a sense, he's tailor-made for Al Daniels.
This fight is scheduled for 8 rounds. Referee Ken Chevalier.
Scott, when you and your matchmaker, Josh Hall, make a match, what are you looking for? Are you looking for brawls? Tell the fans kind of what the process you go through when you try to match 2 fighters.
Well, the main thing you're looking for is to make good, even, competitive fights. And, you know, sometimes it's tough in the club level because you're trying to work with guys that are local, guys that sell tickets. And, you know, once you get a guy that sells tickets that's local, the thing you're trying to do is put him in as tough as you possibly can. You know, easy fights aren't good for the fighter that's supposed to have the easy fight, or the guy on the other side. They're not good for managers or trainers. And with Alfonzo Daniels especially, I think if you look back, we put him in tough here every time, and he's in tough tonight. This Earl Allen's a tough fighter. Tough fight with Lloyd Jabba Bryant, beat Johnny Cannon, and if you look at his record, it's who's who. And this will be a good win for Al if, in fact, he wins the fight.
Just got hit with a left hook there.
Keep up the good work, Scott Wagner, promoter of Ballroom Boxing. Another great show here tonight. Back with more Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports after this. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Alfonzo Daniels in the ring right now against Earl Allen. Started this fight pretty even. Alfonzo Daniels in the 3rd round seemed to slow down somewhat. Let's head up to John Scheinman and take a look at John's card right now through these 3 rounds. John.
Very close after 3 rounds, 29-28, Alfonzo Daniels. I gave Earl Allen the 1st round. I thought he cut off the ring pretty well and scored. But to me, this is the battle of the powder puff punchers. That one was a hard one to say. Very tactical battle, not particularly exciting for the fans.
All right, John. This is the style Alfonzo Daniels uses. Alfonzo Daniels, a boxer, not a puncher. Even though he likes to think he can rumble, and maybe this fight will heat up a little bit. Earl Allen trying to push forward. Alfonzo Daniels trying to control the tempo. Alfonzo Daniels has 7 knockouts in his 18 wins, so he does possess some power, but for Al Daniels, it's the leverage. It's not the type of thing where he's a tremendously physically strong fighter. Just has to work the right angles and wear his opponent down and get the leverage in his favor.
That's his game plan. It's that simple. And when you're left-handed, you've got a decided advantage. There's not a lot of southpaws out there.
Body shot by Allen, infighting. Allen trying to hold the left hand of Alfonzo Daniels.
See, Allen can't really win from the outside, even though he's basically a boxer. He's not going to outbox Daniels. On the inside, he gets a little bit better of the action.
Nice left hand there by Daniels.
But he kind of stumbles forward. He's not really effective in creating openings where he can punch from. And you see, when Daniels throws that jab, it really puts Earl Allen on the defensive, and then he's totally in a shot.
Less than a minute to go here in round 4.
Allen trying to attack that body, Larry, on the inside.
Alfonzo Daniels has great footwork. Best punch of this fight was thrown earlier in this round. A straight left hand by Alfonzo Daniels. Allen continues to try to pursue Daniels.
Trying to walk him down. Keeps throwing that left hook to the body. Doesn't look like it's having a lot of effect on Daniels, though.
Nice escape by Daniels.
But you do see Daniels dropping his right hand down a little bit lower to protect that rib area.
Nice powerful jab by Daniels. Daniels really beginning to score here as round 4 unwinds. All right, welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael along with Jon Saraceno. Round 5, Alfonzo Daniels taking on Earl Allen. Alfonzo Daniels has a lot to lose in this fight, John. And right now, Daniels needs to stay active. He's only fought once this year, but Earl Allen is a guy that's really tough to look good against.
No question about it. It's a matchup of styles. And right now, this is a close fight. I've only got Daniels ahead by 1 point.
Allen's right there.
In the last round, Larry, in the 4th round, I just don't think that Al really threw enough punches. He's not being quite aggressive enough. Maybe some of that body work done by Allen has caused him to rethink his offensive attack. I don't know. I mean, he continues to stay on the outside, which is what he does. He's a boxer who fights behind his jab. But he's got to throw more punches because he's kind of letting Allen steal it away on the inside.
Allen showing some desperation here, trying to turn the heat up, and I don't know why, because he is in this fight. Maybe he thinks that he has tasted the best that Alfonzo Daniels has to offer, and he thinks he can walk through it.
The one good thing for Alfonzo Daniels is that Allen has virtually no right hand. I mean, he really doesn't. I'm not even sure he knows how to throw it properly.
Nice right hand there by Allen. Daniels a little off balance.
Al does not want to mix it up. Now he's looking to the referee, Ken Chevalier, for a little bit of help.
Alfonzo Daniels needs to show some power here and get Allen off of him.
Again, this is a case of Al being on his toes the whole fight. Instead of setting down, punching, slipping on the inside and countering, bang, bang, going to the body, going to the head, throwing 2, 3, 4 punch combinations. But this is how he's gotten to where he is, 18-2. I mean, he's a jab, you know, he's a straight 1-2 kind of guy. Fight you from the outside. A lot of times it's hard to get a fighter to change his modus operandi, particularly in a certain fight. He's used to fighting a certain way, and that's how he's going to fight.
See, Allen put a little heat on Alfonzo Daniels. Nice combination by Allen.
Al slips punches sometimes on the inside, but he doesn't come back and fire shots of his own. That's what he's got to learn to do, be more of a counter puncher. It's certainly not for lack of ability.
Little uppercut inside by Daniels. Closing seconds of round 5. This fight is scheduled for 8. We'll be back with more Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Body shot
that sent him down.
They're going to call that a knockdown. They're going to call that a knockdown at the end of round 5. And we're going to keep it right here. We will not take the break. And that, if that is scored a 10-8 round, is a major factor in this fight. How about that? Alfonzo Daniels goes down with a body shot. And I don't know, we were screened somewhat here at ringside.
It looked like he got hit with a punch. Now, whether he was off balance when he got hit with that right hand to the body, which it appeared from us, they had their backs to us, the fighters, so it's difficult to see.
Let's take a look at a replay of that knockdown in round 5, and Alfonzo Daniels goes down. And again, you don't have to count that a 10-8 round if you're a judge. Let's take a look.
I don't know if I would call that a 10-8 round regardless anyway, but I've got the fight even after 5 rounds, Larry. Alfonzo Daniels is in trouble here. He's not digging to the body. He's not firing enough punches on the inside. He needs to get a little more tiger in him.
Back to live action in the ring. Alfonzo Daniels fighting for his life right now at 18-2. against Earl Allen, and we knew this would be a tough opponent for Alfonzo Daniels. He's been in with some pretty tough fighters before. Won his last time out.
And look at the look, Larry, on Earl Allen's face. I mean, he knows he's in this fight. Look at his eyes. He senses that he can take this from Al Daniels. You know, first couple rounds, he looked kind of tentative and wasn't quite sure. And now he's like, hey, I can win this thing.
Right hand by Allen scores. Daniels is not punching enough here. There's an overhand left by Daniels. Right hand by Daniels.
You know, it's hard to punch when you're backing up all the time. Really. I mean, if you can't sit down on your punches.
That's another left hand by Daniels.
Tell you what, when you also don't carry a big whack, when you're not really a solid puncher, it's hard to keep a guy off you, and that's why Al Daniels is having trouble right now. He doesn't have enough of a punch to keep Allen at bay on the outside, to make Allen think twice about rushing on the inside.
This fight right now, you get the sense that Alfonzo Daniels somewhere along the way is going to have to stop and fight Allen. Not going to be able to win this fight moving backwards.
He's not showing any inclination at this point to, and certainly you don't want to trade punches necessarily, but you want to get off your own shots, slip, and get out of there. He's not doing that.
Still a minute to go here in round 6, scheduled for 8. A very, very close fight. Let's head up to John Scheinman of Ring Magazine and see how his card reads through 5 rounds. John.
Well, I had that round, a 10-8 round. I thought Earl Allen dominated the round, and I thought he scored a knockdown. It's 47-47 on my card. Alfonzo Daniels is the kind of fighter who lulls you to sleep with his easy boxing style. But once you wake up out of that and take it to him, you put him in all kinds of trouble, and that's what Earl Allen's doing right now.
Earl Allen talking to Alfonzo Daniels, and I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Alfonzo scoring. Nice uppercut by Daniels. Daniels beginning to find the mark on the chin of Allen here in round 6. Blood from the nose of Allen. Daniels beginning to wing that jab and really scoring. He needs to have that range. Clipping left hand by Daniels. And you see the blood from the nose of Allen. So Daniels is showing some urgency here after the knockdown in round 5.
Well, something's got to wake him up. His corner certainly hasn't thus far. I know they're trying to get him into the fight.
2 rounds to go. Daniels and Allen back after this. Welcome back to Glen Burnie, Maryland. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Ballroom Boxing presented by Toyota and Home Team Sports. Alfonzo Daniels and Earl Allen in a very, very tight fight through 6 rounds. Jon Saraceno, how do you have it scored?
58-57 Al Daniels, but I tell you, it's a close fight. It's either guy's fight right now.
Allen beginning to turn up the heat. Alfonzo Daniels in the previous round, round 6, I think sensed that he needed to turn up his offense a little bit and was successful, bloody in the nose of Allen. And now even more blood coming from the nose of Allen. A good body shot by Daniels. Corner of Alfonzo Daniels telling him to pick it up, pick up the pace.
He didn't play the right kind of music for Al before the fight. Maybe that threw him off his game.
Alfonzo Daniels has busted up the face now of Earl Allen. Alfonzo Daniels is a superbly conditioned boxer, and you would think that he'd be able to go these last 2 rounds at full bore.
I don't think Al's going to have trouble throwing punches the last 2 rounds because, first of all, he knows he needs these rounds, Larry. This is a close fight, at least the way we're looking at it from ringside. He can't afford to just play it defensively here, and you got to figure he's got to have something left in the gas tank because he's a well-conditioned athlete.
Earl Allen scowling at Alfonzo Daniels, trying to goad him in to more of a war. And Alfonzo Daniels wants to, play his game, set the tempo, use his jab.
Short right hand there by Allen on the inside, snuck in.
Good right hand by Daniels, maybe his best punch of the fight.
He needs more of that, Larry. He just had his head snapped back.
Big
by
right
Allen.
hand.
Yep.
By Allen.
Boy, they're coming close to clashing heads on the inside.
Corner of Allen telling Allen to get mad. Right hand by Allen off the gloves of Alfonzo Daniels.
Sorry, Larry. Allen's also shown an ability to slip punches on the inside. You see him doing it right there, bending low. Be good if he came back with his own punches.
Daniels trying to double up the jab. Another very difficult round to score.
Boy, this is a close fight.
Less than 30 seconds to go in round 7, scheduled for 8. The legs of Earl Allen, not what they were early in this fight. 7 rounds in the books here at Michael's 8th Avenue. Alfonzo Daniels and Earl Allen. 1 round to go. This fight up for grabs. We'll see who wins after this. Welcome back to Michael's 8th Avenue, Glen Burnie, Maryland. 1 round to go. 7 in the books. Let's go to Jon Scheinman of Ring Magazine and take a look at Jon's scorecard. Jon.
Well, I'll tell you something. I think it's going to be extremely difficult for Earl Allen to win a decision in Alfonzo Daniels' backyard. But on my scorecard, he's winning 67-65, and Alfonso is going to have to score a knockout to win this fight.
All right, Jon Scheinman's opinion. How about you, Jon Saraceno?
Well, I've got Daniels winning the fight by a close margin, a point, and but it's a good observation Jon makes. There's no question Al Daniels is the house fighter here, so there's a built-in advantage no matter how you look at it for Al Daniels.
He's got the better record. He's got a ranking, and the other fighter, Earl Allen, has a losing record. So
if I'm Earl Allen right now, I'm thinking I got to knock this guy out. I may be thinking I'm winning this fight, and if I'm Al Daniels, I'm holding on like he is right there, thinking I just don't want to get knocked out, and I think I'm the winner.
I don't know. You never know. I think Alfonzo Daniels needs to continue to fight. He needs to win this last round.
He's holding pretty good with that right hand. Certainly he can't totally go into a shell, Larry, but I think he figures he's got a slight advantage, and he's going to take advantage of it.
Earl Allen talking to Alfonzo Daniels in the ring, once again trying to get him into some kind of rumble, and Alfonzo Daniels will not fall into that trap. Midway through the 8th and final round.
This has not been an impressive performance for Al Daniels, no matter if he wins it or not.
Good body work by both fighters.
And if he doesn't win this fight, he's got some serious thinking to do about what he's going to do next. I mean, this is not the type of fighter that he should lose to, and that's not taking anything away from Allen. But they're building Daniels. You heard the promoter, Scott Wagner, tell us that earlier. They don't want to put him in too tough. They're trying to get him some victories and build him towards some kind of a world ranking and maybe some kind of a title shot down the road.
45 seconds to go in the final round. And if this was the deciding round, it's tough to tell who has the edge. Allen may be doing a little bit more offensively in the final round. Alfonzo Daniels trying to stay away. Nice right hand by Allen.
You know, if you wanted to call this fight a draw, I'd have no problem with that. I think it's been a very close, evenly matched fight. And I think the matchmaker, Josh Hall, is to be congratulated for that.
Earl Allen has 2 draws on his record. Alfonzo Daniels has never fought to a draw. Allen trying to do a little more at the end of the final round. Is it Alfonzo Daniels the winner, or was it Earl Allen pulling the upset here in the ballroom? Alfonzo Daniels raises his hands. Allen obviously raises his. Well, your guess is as good as mine.
Very close fight between Al Daniels and Earl Allen out of Savannah, Georgia. As it figured going in, it would be a competitive match, and it certainly was. Daniels,
not much respect between the 2 fighters. They didn't touch gloves there as they walked by each other.
Boy, Allen's walking around the ring stalking as if he's won this fight. He believes he's won the fight. Now he's coming over to our way.
Yeah, I
hope he doesn't ask us who we thought won, because I might have to lie to him.
I think Allen might be preparing himself here for a decision that goes against him. And he's walking around the ring, and he'd like to go a little bit more. Let's take a look at a replay from earlier in this fight. This was the knockdown, or was it? Earlier in this fight, Alfonzo Daniels did go down. There is the punch. It was a body shot.
Right hand, right to the midsection. Daniels a little bit off balance, backing up.
That's right.
Didn't really have his legs under him, Larry.
He contributed to the knockdown. And in any event, we're going to wait and see who won this fight. Earl Allen hoping to pull off a huge upset for him. Earl Allen no longer than a year ago knocked out by Jason Papillon in Florida in the 3rd round. So Earl Allen puts up a game fight. Alfonzo Daniels controls the tempo. And we're going to wait and see who's the winner here tonight.
You got to believe it that Al Daniels is going to get this decision.
Scott Wagner, please report to ringside.
And I think there's going to be a lot of boos when that decision's announced if it goes that way. Get ready to put your earplugs in.
Tell you what, we'll take a break. Back with the decision. Very tough fight. Alfonzo Daniels and Earl Allen. We'll be back with the decision in just a moment. We're in Glen Burnie, Maryland, Michaels 8th Avenue, awaiting the decision of a very tight fight. Earl Allen and Alfonzo Daniels. Alfonzo Daniels the favorite, 18-2. Earl Allen coming in with a record of 6-8. And a long time in adding up these cards. And when that happens, you'll probably be looking at a split decision.
Well, I had Daniels winning the fight by 1 point, but it's hard to disagree with John Scheineman's analysis that Allen won the fight. It's very close.
Let's get the official word from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We have a unanimous decision. Judge Holmes scores it 76-75. Judge Waleed scores it 79-72. And Judge Wingfield scores it 76-75. And the winner, by unanimous decision, Earl "The Rock" Allen.
Earl Allen wins it 79-72 on one of the cards. Just a shocker here at the Ballroom in Glen Burnie, Maryland. Alfonzo Daniels falls for the 3rd time in his pro career. Earl Allen with the big upset. Back with more Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports. Don't go away. All right, another great night of boxing in the books here at the Ballroom at Michaels 8th Avenue. And John, the hallmark of the cards here at Michaels, tight, competitive bouts. The fans always go home happy, and tonight was no exception.
Well, Larry, I think the most interesting aspect was watching Reuben Bell come back after a 2-year layoff. I think he's got some of that ring rust off. I think that helped him. Disappointing performance, though, by Al Daniels.
Right, for our colleague John Scheinman, this is Jon Saraceno. I'm Larry Michael. Join us next time as Toyota presents Ballroom Boxing on Home Team Sports.